Okay. Well, let's talk about artist development for a minute. Now, this is an overview. This is what you're going to be writing your artist development plan about. So you picked your artist, and then if you look at the table of contents, there's 15 things that need to be done in order to develop the artist so that they're ready for product development. Product development is about recording and touring and gigging and licensing and making money. Artist development doesn't make any money. It's about getting the artist ready to make money. Okay? So we're going to go over some brief things in there about what that is so that you can understand what you're going to be writing about. Okay? Artist development is pre-release. It's about creating, planning, and preparing. The first step of artist development is content creation. If there weren't any songs, there wouldn't be a music business. So somebody has to create the content, create the songs or the beats or the lyrics. Creating content is the very first thing in your artist development. Song creation. Okay, so this is an interesting point here. So everything starts with a song. Without great songs, there is no music business. Songwriting is just not an artistic expression, it's an axis upon which the music business rotates. Artist development is the music itself. Good songs are not good enough when preparing to market music. People only respond to what they feel are great songs. The songs must have some commercial appeal, if only to a certain music niche: folk, hip hop, alternative rock, new age, jazz, blues, etc. Finding that niche and managing its growth is essential to developing a successful artist. Just remember this: the songs must be of very high caliber. So, good songs are not good enough. Great songs are sometimes not good enough. You got to have a little luck in there in order to get placed, in order to chart, in order to collaborate. So everything is about quality. Quality of songs, quality of content. That's step one. Step two is protecting that creation. Song protection. And you can see the little C with a circle around it, right? That's copyright. And we're going to be talking about the C circle and the P circle when we're talking about protection. Copyright. Sampling, sharing, copying, you got to be careful of some of these things. That's why it's protected. Protecting the content. Artist development is also about protecting the great songs by registering them with the U.S. Copyright Office. Songwriters and music publishing companies need to affiliate with a performing rights association such as ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, so that if and when those songs are played by the broadcasting industry or in certain public places, they will receive proper payment for the uses of those songs. Now, we'll talk about the PROs in just a minute. Those are performing rights organizations. We'll be talking about those in detail when we get to that. But this is just an overview. Lessons and coaching. Number 3. As careers develop, artists may wish to improve on some creative talents by investigating voice or instrument lessons or master classes from more experienced musicians. In addition, workshops, clinics, and seminars should assist artists with helpful tips about the music industry. Even the most professional of artists that I know and work with have coaches, different kinds of coaches. Management. Helping the artist look at the big picture. All right. Now, at the beginning of your career, you're going to manage yourself. You don't need to hire a manager for some bucks or for any percentages of income. You don't need to do that. Management will be from you. And as you learn about the music industry, you'll learn how to do the management of it. And then when you're making some dollars, that you can hire a good quality professional manager and pay them 20 grand a year because you're going to be making 100 grand a year. You don't need to hire a manager and tell them. But think about it. If someone's going to go with 20% of your income, what quality manager is going to come on board with you if you're only making $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $10,000? It's not worth it unless it's a friend. But then I said good quality manager. So a manager really needs to look at the big picture and be able to put the parts together. We'll talk more about this. Next step, attitude, ego, passion, and grit. All right, you got to be careful of some of these things. You got to have the attitude, but you got to be careful of your ego. Okay? Success will follow those who want to succeed. Okay, this is a mental game here. Determine your goals, focus on the ways to the means, stay positive, strive to improve, learn from your mistakes, keep your integrity. This is all about attitude, ego, passion, and grit. We'll talk more about this as well. What about setting up your business? Yes, you do need to set up a business, and that's why we're also plan in this course. So, this, you're going to be one of three things. You're either going to be a sole proprietor, you're going to be a partner, or you're going to be a corporation. I'm going to help steer you to think more about becoming a corporation, an LLC, limited liability corporation. And there's reasons for this. We'll talk more about that when we get to this section. Starting the business. One of the functions of Artist Development Division will be helping artists start their own business. This will also be necessary if artists want to have control over their career. So some artists that I consult with also play in a band. So they do some solo stuff, and they have a business as a solo, and they might be a sole proprietor or they might be an LLC. But then when they're in the band, they also have a separate business that they usually form an LLC over. So you might want to think about this. We wear lots of hats in this industry, lots of them. You write a song and then you pitch this to some other artist or a band that you're in. That's publishing. And then you perform the song, you're a performer and you're an instrumentalist. Maybe you sing the song and maybe you want to record the song and promote the song, get it on the radio, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of hats. We've already talked about three different kinds of businesses that we're going to be looking at. We've got their sole proprietor business as you, the artist. Maybe if you're in a band, another business. And we did talk about your publishing as a possibility, and that would be a separate business. Now, if you're putting out recordings, you have an album or an EP or a single that we're releasing, who's releasing it? Is it a record label? Is it your record label? That's a separate business. These are things you need to think about. We'll talk about all these things. Image. Yeah, image. One of the most delicate issues involved with artist development is the matter of creating and constantly maintaining a clear and honest image. What people hear in the music must be seen in how artists dress on stage and can help or hurt artists when we create promotional materials and artwork for compact discs, etc. Weave a thread of consistency with the chosen image throughout the four fronts of the music marketing. And we'll get more into details on this too. But image is another part of artist development. What about the legal agreements and contracts? Yeah. Contracts, big in this industry. Everybody's got a contract for everything. So using lawyers who have had experience within the music industry, these are the quality attorneys that you're going to need. They will be needed to look over any band agreements, booking contracts, publishing deals, or any other sorts of legal matters. But this is a part of artist development. Artist agreement should include writing up a band agreement that defines the issues related to running the artist's career as a business, as well as how artists will work with people in the band or on their team. Another part of artist development, and it's also part of the business plan when we get to it, but how are you going to fund this sucker? How are you going to do a day gig? Okay. Mom and dad? Okay. A rich uncle? Okay. Doesn't matter. How are you going to do it? So bank accounts. Each artist should have their own bank accounts, which can be easily audited. In addition, it's easier if all payments go directly into these accounts electronically. Endorsements. Each artist should...
What does it mean audited?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering what audited means.
So you can look it over and you don't have to sort out and say, well, that was my own personal expense and that was a band expense and that was... No, auditing is being able to keep everything together and you'll be able to go through it quickly and easily.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So endorsements. Each artist should provide a list of equipment that they use in their performances. And we're going to talk about this when we get to gear, instruments, and equipment. But you're going to be looking for endorsements. This is going to help you with your financing. And there's multiple income sources associated with each artist. Live performances, performing rights, mechanical licensing, merchandise sales, publishing, licensing, et cetera, goes on and on. So there's incomes, and my job when I'm working with these clients, and I'll be doing the same thing with you guys, is you maximize every income source. And I get some artists that say, well, I only gig. All right, well, how come you're not selling merch? If you're gigging, why aren't you selling merch? Are you playing out your own material? That means you're licensing. Are you recording any of those live performances? Then maybe you're recording and you're getting other kinds of mechanical licenses. We'll talk about that. All right, trademark. Circle. For using their name. It's also part of the business organization of developing an artist's career properly. Artists should registering their name or stage name by trademarking it. And they can do this at uspto.gov. Okay, we'll talk a lot more about trademarks as well. Pre-publishing, get your songs out there. Publishing should create a demand for your songs. The pot of gold at the end of the music rainbow is the income received from the use of these songs. The business of music publishing, which is really the business of finding uses for songs, is very important for the success for all songwriters. So you as a songwriters might want to perform your own material and record your own material and put it out. But what happens if a Steven Spielberg comes to you and wants to use you in the next Gremlins 55? Or wants to put you into, maybe somebody else wants to record one of your songs on their album. Okay, that's publishing. We'll talk more about this too. Performing rights, CSAC, ASCAP, BMI. There's also global rights music, and there's also a thing called Sound Exchange that we'll get into. But PROs, very important. You can start making money from PROs right now. If songwriters are interested in getting paid from performances of your music, such as broadcasting, online streaming, live gigs, and many other potential income sources, they should belong to a performing rights organization. And then you'll be a writer for one of those organizations. We'll talk more about that. Here's the section on gear, instruments, and equipment. Helping artists invest in the best equipment and musical instruments is another necessity. No artist can perform their best work using mediocre equipment. Now, I didn't say expensive equipment. I said no mediocre equipment. Okay, as long as it sounds good, it'll work. What about your team? Artists, agents, managers, producers, publishers, publicists, co-writers, musicians, choreographers, tour managers, sound engineers, bus drivers, street teamers. Did I mention instrumentalists or bass players or drummers or all the other things that go on here? You know, stage managers, et cetera, et cetera. Who's on the team? And then lastly, you're going to be prepping for product development. This is where all of it comes together. And product development is preparing for recording, preparing for performing, preparing for merchandising, preparing for touring, and preparing for licensing. All of this has to do with preparing for product development. So we're going to put together your artist development plan. All those things you're going to write about for your artist. And it doesn't have to be in depth, but a paragraph or two, maybe 3, maybe a page. It's up to you. The more you put into your career, the more you're going to get out of it. We're going to start planning the plan on how that all comes together. All right. Well, questions, comments, suggestions?
This is Madison. So I just printed out your syllabus for your class for the semester,
Okay.
and you have the fall dates that are listed for this semester as the fall dates. Do you do the same thing? No matter
I
like.
already have the new syllabus. I thought I posted it. I will post a new one.
Okay, sounds good. I just
With
wanted to be clear.
Thank you for that. I did not know that there was an old one up there.
Yep, sounds good.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, I know I ran a couple minutes over. I told you we'd be done around 5:15. We're about 8 minutes late, so apologize for that. But we're good. We're great. We're wonderful. Things are moving ahead. You can see where we're going with this class, I hope. And I'm going to fill your heads. You guys are going to be busting it out. You're going to go, what the heck? I had no idea there was so much to this business. There's a lot. And, you know, you think you get a song and you play it up on stage and you're done. No, there's a lot more to it than that. Okay. And, you know, for example, why didn't you record that gig and then put it up and stream it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hello, that's income. So we'll be talking about all these little detail things as we go through the class throughout the semester. We've got 16 weeks, and that means 15 weeks of assignments. Okay.
Okay. When's the next class?
Excuse me?
When's the next class?
Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Thursday at 4 o'clock. We'll see you guys then. Goof off as much as possible, but everything's a career move. All right, adios.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.